Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good
Morning.
morning, everybody.
Hello.
Okay, it's time. So let's start the conference. Thank you for joining us. Today we would like to introduce about VDA 6.3 and D-TLD assessment. And this is our customer like Volkswagen and Audi request us to audit with you our suppliers. And it could be our audit or it could be self-assessment yourselves. And today, here, Victor will explain about VDA 6.3 and Fernando will explain about D-TLD audit. If you have a question, please send us by chat or after the conference, you can send us by email. So we can gather and we can prepare responses. Are you ready, Victor?
Yes, Yosuke. Good morning.
Good morning. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. This is Victor Gomez, Supplier Quality for North America for JSS. We prepared some information from you guys related to VDA 6.3 and D-TLD. We discussed the topic of presenting as well for you VDA 6.5, but the slot of time that we have scheduled for today, it will not be enough. So we prefer to dedicate it today for VDA 6.3, which is process audit, and D-TLD audit. So we will be having in the future either another VDA 6.3 plus 6.5 training or only 6.5. But Yusuke will let you know at the proper time, okay? So thank you everyone for joining us this morning. Okay, for us, we will provide you with a brief introduction of JSS, plus the presenters that we want to provide you with this information, the mission and vision for the company, give you some overview of the VDA 6.3, what is the definition of the VDA 6.3, what are the elements of the audit, the auditor profile, will be the auditor process and elements required, what are the tools to perform the audit, what will be the audit structure based on the format provided by QMC and also Volkswagen Institute. We will go in detail in the questionnaire. We will let you know the 9 elements or the 9 tabs that the Excel file is including, and just a general overview of that questionnaire. We will let you know what is the plan for a follow-up and closure, and what is required, if it's required, just training or certification for this type of audits. In addition to that, my colleague Fernando will provide you with all the TLD required information. Same structure, okay? Jason Safety Systems, formerly known as Key Safety Systems, is an American company owned by Chinese investors that develop manufacture automotive safety systems. The company headquarters is in Auburn Hills, Michigan, United States. Excuse me. And globally, the company has around 50,000 employees, who we are divided in 32 different locations and technical centers worldwide. Our current CEO and president is Tao Liu. I leave you the link for the company in case you want to go and see additional details. You will see, like in next slide, our vision and mission, and you will be able to see additional company information and additional supplier information as well. JSS, our vision. Our vision is to be the global leader in mobility safety. Our mission is we strive to provide safety system solutions of the highest quality and reliability to allow our customers the design freedom and confidence to drive the next generation in mobility. That is our mission and vision. And for today, the three presenters, first is Yusuke Yamasaki. He is our VDA certified auditor and senior SQE, reports to corporate office, and he's located in Monterrey, Mexico. Yusuke is going to be your primary contact point, but we will be distributing this information as well. So if this is you have information or questions required to these specific topics, please feel free to touch base with Yusuke and put Fernando and myself in copy, please. Now, for the D-TLD audit of this presentation, Fernando Saldaña is going to be our presenter. Fernando Saldaña is a VDA certified auditor and D-TLD coordinator for our BH sites in Mexico. He is developing, he's currently in the role of laboratory site manager for Mexico, and he's located in Villahermosa, Tamaulipas. And this is Victor Gomez again, VDA certified auditor and supplier quality here in Our Hills in the corporate office. I'm located in Our Hills, and I will be providing the all related to the 6.3 and in the future for the 6.5, okay? Okay, a scope for this introduction. The idea here is to provide you guys, our supply base, with the elemental information to be able to understand the basic auditing process for VDA and D-TLD. This introduction is for some the basis for auditing for some other people that have, it could be an initial approach for the D-TLD and VDA 6.3, or could be probably a path to follow that you guys are already involved, and you just, we will provide you with additional tools and information so you can continue that educational journey. The third point is we need to let you know that we need you guys to understand that this is a basic scope, so you can perform an audit and you can fulfill the requirements, cascading down from the OEMs to JSON and from JSON to the supply base. But this will be like an initial approach. In some cases, formal training will be required, no matter if it's just formal training by itself or it's formal training plus a certification. What I want to let you know here, guys, is that there is a difference between training and a well-trained auditor and a certified auditor. So it depends on the requirement. In our case, we are required by by the customer-specific requirements to be certified VDA auditors, so we can perform audits internally and externally from JSON, and also pass you the ball so you can support us to provide the customer-specific requirement that is cascade down from the OEM to JSON and from the JSON to our sub-supplier, our supply base. So again, this is, I want to invite you everyone, this is a path for an educational journey and a self-educational. If you guys, excuse me, have the possibility to get a formal training in detail for the VDA6.3, all the elements, every single one, review step by step, all the auditing process, from the basic auditing process, VDA6.3 and VDA6.5, please go and do it. If you can get the training, it's great. If you can get the training and certification, it's even better, okay? So basically, out of this training, what I'm trying to let you guys know is that probably 3 scenarios will come to you and your companies. So out of the people that we have on this call, probably we will have 3 different type of people. The first one that says, I'm an auditor. I have a profile of auditor. I've been in quality X amount of years. And with this information, I understand that this is a process, this is a format, these are the requirements. I'm just going to get my orange VDA 6.3 manual, and I'm good to go. There will be some additional people, like in case number 2, that says, okay, I'm somehow involved with auditing. I know a little bit of VDA, but probably I don't have a profile auditor, or I don't have the proper background. Maybe I'm sales, or maybe I'm purchasing, and I don't have all the required background in quality. So probably I could do it, but I need to get additional preparation. I need to get something related to core documents or specific quality training or product training. Okay, that is doable as well. Again, this is the purpose is giving you the basis to be able to perform an audit and be able to help us to fulfill our OEM requirements. And probably the third one person that will be saying, you know what, I'm sales and I have nothing to do with this. I know about the product, I know a little bit of this, but I don't have the background, or I don't know, I'm not an auditor. So probably this training, it's more for one of my quality colleagues or for one of my auditors in my company. So for this, if there is some people that get identified in this case by the end of this presentation, we will invite you to provide with additional source for a future training or for the next session, so we can be an aid for you guys to provide, again, to comply with the proper requirements from the OEM. Okay. Scope. Now, something that we want to let you know, and we want to understand as well. Again, some of you might be already involved, some not. VDA 6.3 and 6.5 and all D-TLD, those requirements and those type of audits, they belong to the German OEM standards. Basically, Volkswagen, Mercedes, BMW, Audi, all of them run under the VDA6, which is basically the equivalent in Europe for our IATF in America. So it's a little bit different, probably a little bit more restrictive and focusing in different topics. But by the end of the day, it's an audit that has to be performed. It's a standard that you have to be trained on, and there is a format that you have to fill it up. When I'm saying format, we need to use an audit as a tool to be able to get the best of out of our company. The focus of an audit and the focus of an auditor, it's go and assess our systems, go and assess our process and sub-processes based on some of the tools that I will mention here, and be able to evidence the presence of those controls, processes, and sub-processes, or evidence the opportunity areas that those systems have. So we can do of an audit a good tool for continuous improvement for your processes, for avoiding escapes of improper or non-conformant material from your location, from the creation standpoint or a prevention standpoint, and detection, and avoid the escape to our final customer. Because sometimes those escapes pass through us as well, and they made it to the final OEM. And that's when the things get really bad and messy and pricey sometimes. So my invitation here is, let's use an audit to make us better, to be a tool of a continuous improvement for every one of us, instead of being just a document that we fill it up. Okay. So again, just a quick recap. VDA, all the requirements, they belong to the German OEM standard. They are under VDA6, and all the German OEMs basically are ruled for those standards. Some of those are being cascaded for North America. For our, they are kind of being combined now with TS, IATF and TS standards. So what is VDA? VDA basically is the German Association of the Automobile Industry. VDA, that is the acronym by the German word, which is Verben der Automobile Industry. Okay. Excuse me. The VDA versions or standards that we most commonly use in North America is, again, VDA 6.3, which is process audit, and VDA 6.5, which is product audit. The invitation for you guys here is get the orange books. Same as in America, we have the blue books. Get the orange books from for 6.3 and 6.5, process and product audit. The book will be a huge guide for you with some of the information that we're going to provide you. We're giving you the overall, the tools, and all the general information. If you go and get the orange book and complement this presentation and go in detail, you will be able to have a successful both audits. Okay. Process audit definition. By the orange book in this case, the audit definition is a method of an impartial analysis and evaluation of the product development and realization, as well as effectiveness of the defined product. This is by the book, the definition. Excuse me. Now, the elements that we are going to be covering today in our introduction, they will be the 7 elements that are included in the audit, and in consequence, they are included in the auditing format. We have a P1, which is potential analysis, that is commonly used for bringing new suppliers on board. We have P2, P3, and P4 that are defined as a phase of the auditing process. P2, which is program management. P3, which is planning the product and process development, and P4, that is the implementation of the product and process development. Phase 1 or phase A, P2, P3, and P4 are usually for a new launches, a new development. And P5, P6, and P7, they are usually for current production. P5, which is supplier management, P6, which is process analysis and production. The element P6 is the one that has more sub-elements. We will see that through the to the format, auditing format. And P7, which is customer care, customer satisfaction, and customer service. Okay. Auditor profile. Ideally, this is the, we're putting here the requirements to be able to have a successful audit, but sometimes something close enough could make it work, okay? So ideally, for performing a VDA auditor, you have to be an internal auditor and has to be, passed through audits before, like a host, and also being the auditor internally in your company. So we need that auditor attitude oriented. What we require from an auditor? We require from an auditor to be data driven, be analytic, be objective, and be ethic. So they gotta stick to the procedures, they gotta stick to the process, and they gotta understand and be able to have a critical judgment of what we have or what we don't have. We ask for ideal of 5 years minimum in a direct quality position, so the person can have the required background and auditing. We ideally require to be proficient in core tools, be proficient in core documents, and be, as soon as you are an internal auditor, you are most of the time rotating with the scheduling audits, and at the same time you are able to learn from different product and processes in different departments, especially from processes. So we require to be proficient in capability analysis, gauge R&R, and basic standards of the industry. Also, we ideally require, as part of the quality basics, be part of a trouble solving team, or have a trouble solving background, be able to understand and map a process, and also ideally a supplier management. Ideally, we require to be related with product and process, to know the basics, to know the operations, the basic process flow, the ideal controls and methods, and the idea and the possible problems that a product or a process can cause us. So based on that and a good drawing interpretation, you are able to get a drawing, to get a standard, and be able to audit a specific product, process, or controls in a production line. So specific expertise in the product is a plus. Most of us, the auditors that we go on audit allocation, sometimes we are not the expert of the product and process that our supplier is developing, but we are able, through the systematic approach of an audit, we are able to prepare the audit, to do our proper research, to get the drawings, to get the spec, to get all the information and be prepared in advance. So by the time when you go and assess the supplier, you have a plan of, you have a strategy to be able to assess the supplier, evidence, what they have and they don't have in their product and processes. And as an auditor point of view, we usually gotta go for the drawing. It's gonna be our starting point. We gotta go with we gotta go and assess the KPIs. We gotta want and see what is critical, significant, and major characteristics from our drawing. What are the specific requirements and testing that is required, and that will be a great starting point for us as an auditors. Now, ideally, an auditor certification internally, it's ideal. If you have it, that's good. If you have the proper training and you're capable, I'm sure that you guys are good to go. If you guys can have an official training and official certification, that is a plus, okay? Okay, the audit process. As I mentioned before, I was dividing the audit process in 3 steps. This is kind of a guideline, but it's not exactly the rule of the time. Again, potential analysis is mostly used all the time to bring a supplier on board, like a new supplier. P2, P3, and P4, this is a launching phase or a new an NPI, a new product introduction, and we will go and assess the supplier. For example, we have a supplier that has been in business with Joyson, for 10 years. and everything is okay. Has a good scorecard. It was nominated and awarded for a new program, and we don't know much of the supplier lately. We require the latest certificates they have, the latest contact information, and we schedule an audit. Why? Because we have a new product introduction. We will go through feasibility. We want to go and assess and confirm that the supplier is still there. He's in the same building, has kind of the same stuff, same technology, maybe has improved, has evolved over the time, has now better controls, now has vision system in place and is checking everything in place, and has a really good detection and really good prevention. So we need to be aware of those things pre-award and after the award, so we can have the peace of mind and be sure that it won't cause an issue down the road. That is usually what the phase A it's been using for. Now, the phase B is a P5, P6, and P7. Phase B is usually when we have a supplier that is in current production, has been already down the road, probably a couple of years in production out of a 5-year program. And we suddenly start having recurrent quality issues, or we have maybe a severity class A of possible field action that we need to go and assess the controls and make sure that that supplier that has multiple customer complaints at a time, we probably need to go and stop production for a time or bring a squad of people and have that people on board, start, put a sorting company in their location and probably a sorting company in our location. And we need to do something different, right? This is not always the case. A phase B is not just for bad performance or for a quality issue or an escalated or a field action issue. This could be also part of a sustainability process. It could be part of my supplier developing team having a quarterly review, a half-year review, or an annual review, and we found out that this supplier, probably the performance is good, but we want it to be better, or the performance is a little bit below expectations. We are not still in the scenarios of multiple complaints or an escalated field action or something like that, but we just need to make sure that our supply base will remain sustainable and with good quality. So that could be also a reason of a phase B audit. And again, these are just the guidelines. That does not necessarily mean that we just need to do or just have to do phase A in a new supplier development. We can do phase A and B for a new supplier development. We can do just B for current auditing process, current production processes. We can do technically, we have to evaluate and assess the current situation, and also as an auditors, we can define what will be the best case scenario to either do phase A, phase B, or both of them. But that will be under auditor judgment, okay? And the current scenario and analysis of the scorecard and the current situation with the supplier performance indicators, KPI indicators, and whatever you mentioned, okay? So just to give you an idea, what can be done with the audit, what phases can be used simultaneously or can be used by separate. Okay, now the tools that we are using for our VDA6 let me see if you can see me here just for a minute. Can you guys see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. Okay, now continuing with the tools that VDA basically is presenting us. Good morning. I'm putting 3 tools over here for you guys. The tools that are required to perform a VDA audit, it's going to be for sure the questionnaire. Part of the questionnaire, actually, we have 2 questionnaires. We have the potential analysis, and we have the potential analysis and the VDA6 the whole auditing questionnaire. These are 2 different questionnaires. In this specific training, we're just going to be able to see from P2 to P7 because it's not a requirement for you to do potential analysis. It is for us, but not for you. So in this case, everything that I'm putting in blue in previous slides and these slides, this presentation will be distributed with you guys. This is for you to do additional research. If you are in the possibility on the position 2, you can go in depth. Okay. For tools, again, we have the questionnaire. We have the formal Q documents, formal Q capability. The formal Q the whole formal Q concrete capability and all name books that Volkswagen Institute is providing, that is a customer specific requirement being cascading down from Volkswagen to us, tier ones, and it's going to be cascade to you as well, suppliers. So there is an intrinsic relationship between the VDA, German standard, and the formal Q documents required by German OEM, Volkswagen and Audi. We are going to be requiring the VDA6 standards per the questionnaire, plus the formal Q specific requirements that are already included in the format. So it's a matter, I will show you the format in a minute. It's a matter to, by the time that we are assessing the format by our P element and sub elements, we will have some items that are red lined or red markup, which belong to the formal Q concrete documents from Volkswagen, or in this case, it's formal Q capability. So it's our labor, it's our task as an auditing team that we are to be able to assess and make sure that the VDA 6.3 requirements are in compliance as long as the formal Q documents. So they will be, again, that is an auditable source from Volkswagen, Audi, and those are additional controls for us. Now, the tool that we are going to be using for assessing every single P element and every required element and sub-elements from the audit is going to be the total diagram. The total diagram, basically, it's a format that is being used as an aid for us to be able to evidence every single, to evidence and analyze every single process and sub-process in that way. We have to have a mindset of an auditor based on the total diagram. I will go in a little bit more details as soon as we go to the specific point. In this case, I'm giving you a snapshot from the report, the audit VDA6 audit report. The audit report is containing 9 pages. The first one is a disclaimer. That's basically it will show you that it's a disclaimer from QMC and Volkswagen Institute that the file has predetermined formulas and they have to be respected. They are basically inviting us just to fill the designated fields and avoid messing with the formulas. The moment you mess with the formulas, you are going to be in trouble. So let's just make sure that we fulfill properly only the required fields to be filled up for us, the auditing team. Okay. The first cover sheet, basically, it's telling us, you know, you got to put the company logo, the company information, general information of the audited party and us, the auditor party. So it will be supplier information plus JSS information and basic contacts. The point number 3, it's the cover sheet. You will have additional information over there. We will go through the details. Where is the supplier located? What commodity it is? What part number are we auditing? What processes are we auditing? Who are the main contacts from the audited party? Who are the main contacts from Joyson that are requiring the audit? What is the scope of the audit? Additional details. We will go. I will show you. That's for the cover sheet. And then page number 4 will be the main questionnaire. When we will have from P2 to P7, we have element, question, score, and a possible action. And page number 5 is the evaluation page, when we will have a breakdown of the A phase, B phase by every one of the P elements. We will have a scoring. So we will have a summary of the audit performed, and we will be able to see what a specific P element is downgrading our audit, if that is the case, or what elements we are being successful on, and that will be reflected in the overall scoring. Point number 6 is the final, it's not the final, but it's the overall report. The point number 5 is a breakdown of the scoring. The point number 6 is the overall. It will contain the final scoring or qualification of result of the audit and general information, such as findings provided, but just in a general matter. Point number 7 will be the action plan, that it will be filled up. Fill it up automatically by the time we are doing the scoring, and we signalize or we envision that as a finding. It will be transferred. It will be transferred to the action plan. So by the time we are done with the audit, all the points that we find or we have found as opportunity areas, they will be transferred to an action, to a format of findings that in the subsequent time, it will be the answer from the supplier to every specific finding. Then we will find out on point number 8, all the formal Q requirements. That will be our link for our VDA audit. And the last one is just the history of the changes. That is what the current format for VDA is containing. And we will open it in a minute, and I will show it to you. Now, the formal Q documents, those are specific requirements from Volkswagen. The Volkswagen requirement. And those, the scope for that is to be cascade to the tier ones, which tier ones, as also as Joyson, cascade down to the supply base. And those are required by Volkswagen and by Audi. So those are formally included in the VDA format coming from Volkswagen Institute and Encona Academy, the QMC. That is the formal format that we have to use, and it's mandatory because that is the mandatory format by Encona, QMC, and Volkswagen Institute. And why am I showing you this, like remarking this point? Because the proper training and certification, as what I know, it's being provided by Encona, which is a German institution, the QMC, and the Volkswagen Institute, which is they are German by nature. So let's make sure that we adhere to the standards. Or if we find out a training, again, it will be a difference between a training providing by a company that is here in America. They have the knowledge, they have probably the details and everything. But in order for us, that if we need to be certified auditors, it's ideal to be by Volkswagen Institute or Encona QMC, just so you guys know, okay? And the information for the formal Q is already included in the tab number 8, and it's available for you to make sure that is that you can do a cross check between the VDA6 requirement. Basically the VDA6 is going to be asking you for the specific specific question. We will need to go and use our Orange Book and be proficient in the use of the Orange Book. It's not ideal that us as an auditors, let's be in the middle of an audit and consulting the Orange Book. I have done it when we have specific questions and we have disputes that sometimes we are, sometimes it's the case that we are disputing with the supplier. Sometimes you go and assess the supplier. We as certified auditors, we detect or find an opportunity area, we evidence it, and then the audited party is refusing the audit or negotiating that finding. So then there has been some cases that you gotta go and ask and review the manual in that specific P element and sub element and see exactly what the manual is asking for, because that's gonna be an aid for you. The manual basically, there are some parts of the manual that it's gonna be guiding you and giving you examples of the things that you need to be looking for in every specific question. So that will be a good aid for you. That's why, again, let's try to get the Orange Book. So that's how we can go. And we need to make sure that we do that cross-check between VDA6 and Formal Q, okay? That has to be done for sure. Now, excuse me, going in the direction of the total diagram. Total diagram is a format that is being used for auditing. It's a format, and I like this total diagram. I was an internal auditor before, and I was related to audits in my previous experience in the manufacturing facility. And when I became SQE, corporate SQE, I was formally able to get the training. And then I noticed how the approach is changing from probably manufacturing the product and process to an audited, from an auditor product and process perspective. As an auditor, this specific format is going to be able to guide you from process thinking. So every P element has to be seen as a process itself. And by fact, it is a process itself. What basically the total diagram is making for us is to establish the linkage between the beginning of the process itself, all the resources that you can see on the screen, that is basically the total diagram. It's been seen, it's called total diagram because the main process stage is like the body of the total, and you will see four limbs, four external sources that they will be reaching out the process. It's like the what, the who, the how, and the results. So basically those four elements reach out our process. We have a process input that goes from left to right. Process input, the beginning of this process input is going to be the end of the previous process. So we have a process here in the, let's call that we have, I don't know, production process. So we have the production process right now, but before that, we have the development process, the developing of the product, the development of the product and the process, and the transference to production. So we gotta see every slice of the pie as a sub-process. And what the total diagram is teaching us, and also VDA, is that the weakest point of those processes are gonna be the interaction of the current process with the previous process and the future process, because those are going to be the weakest points in the transference. For example, when we see issues down the road in production, sometimes the DV or the PV, we find out some certain type of things, and we are still able to see those in the production process because they were not either solved or we did a temporary corrective action or something like that. But the transference of the previous phase of the process to the current phase to the future phase, sometimes, most of the times, is the weakest link. So we gotta make sure that every P element is seen as a process, and every process is has the more controls from a preventive standpoint and a process and detection standpoint as possible to be able to do not pass through the processes and sub-processes those opportunity areas. So we, as an auditors, we are trying to make our organization, the organization that we are auditing, as bulletproof as possible in terms of deviation. We know that the deviation will exist as long as processes exist, but we have to minimize and control the deviation. That is our target as auditors, okay? Okay, now I'll go, let me see, I think will be a good time to show you guys let me just go back really quick. Before going to scoring, I'm going to go to the format. So we discussed that we have 9 points: disclaimer, first sheet, cover sheet, questionnaire, evaluation, overall report, action plan, form AQ information, and history of changes. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can see.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Alrighty, thank you. Okay, this is the formal VDA format. Disclaimer as well, this is just, guys, don't mess up with the formulas because you will be in trouble, basically. First sheet, it's general information, auditor organization. This is JSS. I'm going to audit supplier ABC. I'm going to put my company logo here. I'm going to schedule the date for the audit for this date. This is my audit number 25 of the year. Distribution internal. Yusuke asked me for presenting this information in Monterrey, Octavio in San Antonio, Octavio Lopez, and Fernando Saldaña in Mexico. They are the required parties for this audit to happen because we have a new launch. And then I'm going to go and audit supplier ABC, John in the company, which is the plant manager, and Kari, which is the quality manager, will be receiving me, and we will have the presence of Brian, which is the vice president of operations. So this is what is going to be in this first page. Page number 3, it's details from the current audit. From what I just described you, a couple of things. We have the option here for, I'm not really sure, always I use it in English. Yeah, English and German. So I think English is going to be good for us. So we will go in additional details. Reason of the audit, additional request. If we are 1 or 2 auditors, the departments of the people that is coming from, additional information from the supplier, DUNS number, supplier, location, address, telephone number, fax, and who's going to be signing the audit. And also representatives, main representatives. from the supplier that is being audited. I've been in audits when I have been received by more than 20 people for an audit. I've been in audits when I'm received by 5-7 people, and usually I stick to 3 people, which is my quality person, plant manager, and production manager. So they stick with me and they bring the people on board. But sometimes, according to the organization, we are possible to have a really huge audit, which a big company, a huge quantity of product and processes and sub-processes. And sometimes it's a simple product and processes, and it's a lean organization. Here in the second portion of the format, we have to provide with the audit certificates from the current company. Usually, we try to request that in advance as auditors, so we know where we stand with the supplier. There will be suppliers that they are VDA certified, ISO TS certified, IATF certified, and all the certifications and awarded, and they are good to go. It's a world-class supplier. So you have an idea of the systems. Sometimes they even send you information in advance to let you guys or let us guys know how they are. In some other cases, they just have 1 or 2 certifications. So you are having an idea of the controls and the size of the organization and the type of processes and controls they have with audit results. And another source really important that I use for auditing is the internet. When you want to know a supplier, go to its webpage. Open the webpage, take a look at it, see the size of the company. Take a look in the how its footprint worldwide in North America. You can have an idea of the facilities that the supplier has, the revenue, the sales. You will have a general scenario, an overview of a supplier if you go and review its webpage. Basically, you will be able to see their general information, process information, control information, sometimes financial information, and quality controls. Also accreditations that the supplier and awards that they have received in the past. So that is a great source of information for us as auditors. Okay. Now, last portion of this tab, it's product groups. What are we auditing? VDA is really specific and really goes to the bones. That's how I will say it. It goes in detail, and it's a really good audit, to be honest. But it's really detailed, and sometimes it's time consuming. So when you go and audit a supplier, you will be auditing a specific process, because some suppliers could have multiple processes. I'm going to give you 2 examples. First one, an airbag supplier. They probably have a laser cutting process. They have sewing process and assembly process. Excuse me. And that is the case if they don't manufacture the inflator under the same roof. And then if we go and audit that supplier, the scope of the VDA audit has to be either one of those 3, or you're going to spend the time to audit the 3 processes, because we have a laser cutting process, which is one. Then all those panels that are being turned into panels now after being webbing, after being a textile roll, now they are panels that they will be sewn into an airbag product. So the second process of that company is sewing process. So we have to, every process will have its starting process and end. And the last part of that process will be probably module assembly. So that will be either we go to 1, 2, and 3, and then at the same time, additional fields will be opening for you. So you can score and audit every single product, every single process by itself. So in other words, if you, sorry, I told you that I was going to give you another example. If we go and audit a stamper, a supplier that is stamping with a progressive die, a tool for us, component for us. Let's imagine that this is a bracket that is it's a housing for whatever you guys want. So this is a stamp bracket that they have a machine, a progressive die, a press that stamp it, and we have the bracket itself. Then that bracket gets welded and riveted to another component to become housing. And then that housing is being sent out to a different location of the supplier to be heat treated and painted, E-coat, let's call it. So we're seeing over there 4 processes. If we're gonna audit the whole process, it's gonna be 4 processes to be audited. Actually, the audit is just giving us the option to do 3. What I'm trying to tell you is that VDA will let you do 3 audits at one. But by fact, you will be doing three audits because you will be doing three different processes. So please choose carefully the process that you are going to be auditing, because the more processes you audit, the more time consuming and the more extensive the audit will be taking place. So that's just an advice. Usually we try to do 1 or max 2 processes at a time. Okay, just so you guys know. And here just give you a breakdown of the processes, and under it just additional information of the participants and the people that has to be or was included during the audit. So that's this is page 2, right? Yeah, page number 3. Oh, that was page number 3. I'm sorry. Page number 3 and page number 4. This is our main page for our audit. We have all the P elements here. We have P2 to P7, and we have the option to clear by a macro all the points, and well, and also to add a score. Just a minute, please. Yeah, okay. I was saying that we have the option to clear all the questionnaire, or we have the option to provide 10 points to every single question in the questionnaire. Now, I will go back to this one in a minute. I just wanted to show you that we have a questionnaire and we have the macros over there. We have, this is the breakdown sheet that I told you before. We have element A and element B, A and B. This is development. That's what I told you. I told you about phases 0, phase A and phase B. So basically, this whole portion will be, if we just want to go and assess development for a supplier, a development, an NPI, a new product introduction, phase A will be a good tool to do it. So we can go from P2 to P4 as we discussed. For serial production is the phase B, which is P5 to P7. So what we score in our questions here, they will be automatically calculated in this tab, and it will be giving you a breakdown. So you can analyze from the new product introduction that you are having with a supplier ABC. You know, they are the product is good, but the processes are not the best technically. Our program management is really good, but the product and processes are not the best. They have a lot of issues. So it will give you more detailed information from the company out of the opportunity areas, and at the same time, it will give you an approach as an auditor of what you need to do with the supplier. You just need to, finalize your audit, provide the audit results, have just a basic follow-up, and that's it. Or you have to probably move the supplier to your company in a portion that they will be supplier development, that they will be under the wing of an SQE, that it will be probably helping and developing the supplier for 6 months or 8 months or a year. Those type of things, but those are going to be defined by your company basically. Yeah, here just I want to let you know that every scoring that you do here on page number 4, it's going to have an impact. Let's put a 0 over here in the evaluation, and it's going to have, for example, it just move out to 86% because all the other stuff it's 10. So project development is now 86%, and the moment that I come to my questionnaire, this is 86% over the P2. P2 has P2 has 7 sub-elements, and you will be scoring accordingly. The moment you find a specific opportunity area that you said, the supplier has, they don't have a program management in place. You know what? I'm going to put you 4 because you have someone else that is doing it, but you don't have a program management. And if you don't have a program management, you don't have a structure for that, and you don't have all the proper tools to track that. I'm going to go back here really quick to my presentation because we are in scoring right now, and I need to let you know how we are scoring by what will be the final score and what will be the individual score for every question of the questionnaire from the VDA. For every question, those are ranked from 4 to 10 in multiples of 2. Well, just 4, 6, 8, and 10. Let's keep it like that. So which 10 means they have full compliance of the requirement. what is full compliance? They have our turtle diagram in place, and they have a PDCA. They have basically a system that is capable to run by itself with the proper people on board or without the people on board. So you have to have, because VDA basically is trying to cover everything. It's trying to make it run like in an auto mode, automatical mode. So the moment you have a system, the system is running by itself. If a team member don't show up, the system is capable to continue running. And if the system has an opportunity area, the system learn out of itself. What does that mean? That we have a, I don't know, let's call the auditing process. We have already a calendar. We have a calendar that includes internal audits, including our doc audit inspection, including our GP12 inspection, in-process inspection, end-of-line inspection, and it's including our yearly requalifications internally, and it's including all the audits that you want to mention. The system is really complete. We have a group of auditors dedicated for that they are routing, and they are being switched between the different audits. And we have a calendar, we have a coordinator, and all the auditing process is pristine. It's really good in place. And then we suddenly, everything is running fine, but I don't know, something happened, an auditor came and audited us, or something happened on the field, and we learn from that. So that means that we had an opportunity area that we did not detect before. So that opportunity area, we have to learn from it. We have to, we are able to analyze by our system, because the system is going to be asking you the question, what happened? Why did it escape? Why it wasn't prevented? Why you didn't detect it? So that system is going to be able to ask you those questions. And out of the result of that trouble solving that you do internally, you will use it to make you stronger. So you will find out what was the things that were not taken in consideration. And now the system is going to be asking you to implement those. So that condition cannot repeat again. So that's basically what we are in fully compliance. We are expecting an auto system from that 10 full compliance with requirements. A PDCA, a systems that run in auto mode. That's the goal for VDA. So then if we go down, we have a number 8. We have a system that has minor deviations. So we have something in place, but probably we have taking the same example. We have the auditor team, but the auditors sometimes they don't do the audits, and the audits are late, or they are not fully trained, or the calendars are not up to date, and we have deviations, minor deviations to the current system. You have an 8. You have a system. You have all the opportunities to be 10, but still not at the level. So you have an 8 on that specific score. So number 6 will be, okay, we have significant deviations that people is not trained. We don't have a calendar. We used to have it before, but somebody implemented, then that people leave the company, and now we are just doing some random audits for new product or some things like that. Okay. We kind of have a system, but we are experiencing significant deviations. Number 6 is not good, no bueno. 6 is not a good number. So ideally, we have, for me, I don't want to give you my mindset, but a good system running is an 8. When they exceed my expectation and the system is in auto mode, they have a 10. If they have a 6 is a really detriment score in an audit. So that means you have a system, but it has significant deviation. What does that mean? That the system might operate or might not operate. If might operate and might not operate, for me, we don't have a system. So just to give you an idea. And number 4 is that the system, I mean, they don't have it. And number 4, they don't have a system. They have major deviations. They just have a guy that performs randoms audit when a customer asks for it, and we will have a visit or something like that. And number 0 is that they don't even have a procedure that somebody has to do an audit. So the moment we turn numbers on 0 on this audit, our audit start turning red, and that is no bueno. That is no good either for our for our audited party. The moment we put a 0, the audit turns red, and basically the audit is not passing. I'm always seeing a 0 and the audit is done. That's my point of view. So a 0 is a red audit overall. Okay. Also, the level of compliance. This scoring that we have over here on top. I just, sorry for the pictures, but I just took that from the manual. I'm just took it from the VDA manuals 6.3 third edition. It was released on 2016. You can find that on page 55. That is just an invitation for you guys. Go and buy the manual, go and get it, and go and check that what I'm telling you, it's by fact evidence of what the manual is calling for. And at the same time, you will be able to interact and get related to the manual. On page 60 of the same manual, we have the final scoring for the audit, which is basically the audit is going to be an ABC result as an overall score. An audit with A from 90, same to 90 or above, is considered the organization audited as quality capable. If the audit is a B score, something between 80 and 90, is conditional quality capable. When you say conditional quality capable, the supplier needs work. So you need to, the moment you score the audit, you score those opportunity areas, and you mark that you have a finding that requires immediate attention, a report of findings will be automatically generated based on your comments. And that will be later on the action item from the supplier as an answer to those findings. Conditionally capable, it's still a pass. Not the best, but still a pass. But supplier needs work, okay? Quality capable, supplier is in good shape. But some, like in every audit, you have minor findings here and there. If you go to the process control plan, an auditor told me once that those are free. You just need to ask for the control plans and you will have a bunch of stuff to reflect in your audit. So all those quality capable does not mean that you don't have findings. It means that the findings you have are minor or the supplier is in good shape, but you have still some activities to address. But it's not a supplier that we need to have a concern of. If we have a supplier with B, especially if it's around B with 80, it's a minimum conditional quality capable. So I will be taking care of suppliers, special care from 80 to 85. Now, from a German OEM perspective, they call it stable supplier. For a stable supplier, they say it has to be B with 85, solid. So you have to have a B with a minimum of 85. If you have a B with minimum or less than 85, still has to evaluate if this is a supplier that needs development or what we're gonna do with the supplier. Usually it's development, right? But the threshold for kind of a good audit will be B with 85. Now, let me tell you something. VDA has some rules that they call for downgrading. VDA is not the most friendly audit in that case, because one of the statements that I recall, at least from the couple of trainings that I had before, is that if you have doubt, doesn't convince you at all the system, if you think that might be an 8, but not really sure, then it's a 6. If you guys believe that the guys are in compliance, they have an auto system, but it has something that still does not convince you, then it's not a 10, it's an 8. If the system, you see it initially and it looks like a 6, the partially requirements are being fulfilled, but they have significant deviations, but you don't see all the resources that you will be expecting for a 6, or it doesn't convince you, and you have doubts and questions, it's not a 6, it's a 4. So that's more or less, you know, the approach of, in my experience with the German OEMs, they have a tendency to downgrade the score. So it's the same here. You have a supplier that, especially in a case when you have a supplier that previously failed a VDA audit, a process audit, and it passed with a C with 75, let's say, and then next time you come and audit the supplier, it's a rule for classification change from C to B that the next audit has to be B with 85. That's what the Germans OEM call a B solid or a B sustainable. If you have a supplier that has a previous audit with C with 75, and the next time you go and audit and they have a B with 80, they will remain C. So that is the point. It's not justified by the book. A classification change it does not go on a minimum of B with 85, just so you guys know, okay? So again, just really quick, A is quality capable, B is conditional quality capable, technically between 80 and 90, and not quality capable is below 80. Just a quick overview, okay? Now I'm gonna skip this presentation and I'm gonna go back to my format. So, okay, now we have an idea how to score. We have an idea, we have the idea of the report that we have 9 pages, the disclaimer, the general overview, the detailed overview information, and then we have our questionnaire. Yusuke asked me to go to the P6, but before that, just to go in the questionnaire again, we have the P element requirements, the P numbers, and then we have the requirements and the questions. The specific question will be, is a program management established with a project organization? No, they don't have a program management. We have a guy that is engineering, but he does the program management thing at the same time. So they don't have it. So you know what? They do not, the organization do not have a PM in place. Okay, that's going to be our finding. They have a 4. And then for us, it's an immediate action because it has a 4. They don't have a PM, and we just award the supplier. We are just in a process to award the supplier with a new product, with a new project. So this task that I already, or this questionnaire that I already rank as 4, and I put a comment in here, and I said that is immediate action required. We go to the report, we go to the action plan, and then what you type in the element, sub-element 2.1 in the element P2, they do not have a PM in place. They just have 4 points, and this requires immediate action. What you guys describe over here, it will be passed automatically to the action plan. So my recommendation is always put your comments and mark it as immediate action. So we have a finding plan automatically created, and this finding plan has to be shared with the audited. You will disclosure the whole audit, but this basically will be the base for the supplier to perform all the action items that they have to take in place. We're going to hire a person, or we're going to dedicate one of the team that could be a dedicated source or a non-dedicated source. That's going to be up to the organization. Our job as an auditor is to confirm that there will be somebody there that is going to be taking care of our new baby, our new launch. So we will need a manager in place, and this does not just mean that we just need a PM. We need, again, a total diagram. We need a program management system. What does that mean? That we need a guy, but the guy is just one source. We need a procedure. We need some formats. We need some follow-up. We need probably meetings, and we need to probably recurrent minute meetings and action items and champions and an escalation process for the things when are not happening. So that's where we're gonna see it. We're gonna see the process, okay? So that's how it works. And this is just to give you an example. I won't go in detail in every single one of these P elements. I'm just gonna touch base a little bit on the P6 element, because it's current production, and as far as I know, it's the one that you guys are going to be assessing. It's we have P2, P3, P4, P5, and P6. And it's great that we are just hitting P5 and P6, because as I told you before, I'm gonna just take this as an example for you. P5, which is supplier management, and I'm auditing right now the supplier, and I'm just about to audit P5 5.1. Are only approved and quality capable suppliers selected. Okay, I'm gonna ask. Okay, please provide me your list of directory of supplier directory, and let me know how your suppliers are qualified. You have green suppliers, yellow suppliers, red suppliers. I'm going to be doing my job as an auditor, trying to see how the audited party is controlling the supply base. And we have a note here on 5.1. I'm going to do my part, confirm that they have a system in place, but then we have a specific requirement from formal Q. So that means I got to go here on my tab number 8 and look for the P5 element 5.1, sub-element 5.1. And it says, in the section of suppliers and assessment of the quality capable during the project and the series. Project is launching, series is current production. Process audits must be planned. Process audits must be planned and implemented according to formula Q. I mean, that is formula Q capability. This is the requirement of BW. Depending of the risk classification at the component and if applicable, quality framework agreements, see formula Q concrete. Basically, what it's telling us is that in the question number 5, me as an auditor, I have to make sure that they have a supply base stable, that they have suppliers divided by classification, and that the suppliers that are going to be used for my product component or new launch or current series production, they are quality capable. So we don't want red suppliers. We need to make sure that at least they are green suppliers, a minimum of yellow suppliers. And I will be asking, because the formula Q concrete is asking for a specific, hold on a minute, I see it here. Process audits. Basically, that's what it's telling us. In the section of suppliers and the assessment of the quality capability during the project and the series. So no matter if it's just a new launch or it's current productions, it's requiring Formula Q process audits must be planned and implemented according to Formula Q capability. I'm going to let you guys know from now. It's expected that if we see yellow suppliers, like the question is going to be, why, right? The immediate question. Oh, because they have some performance issues or deliveries or the scorecard is this, or we have a field action with those guys, something. If we have a yellow supplier, there is something in there, okay? So then I'm going to ask, okay, they are yellow. What is your plan with those suppliers? Oh, you know, we have a total of 20 suppliers for this program. 15 are really healthy. All of them have a green scorecard. They are over 95%. We just have these 5 suppliers that they are yellow because of performance. Okay, what is the plan with those suppliers? Oh, we have a plan over here. They were assigned to our portion of the team that is a supplier development team. Or we have a monitoring of those suppliers. And we have scheduled those process audits to make sure that the supplier will become green soon. That is the process of an audit, continuous improvement. So that is the plan. So it's not just that they have a system in place, but they have to have a specific process audit because the Formula Q concrete is and the Formula Q capability from Volkswagen are asking for it. So we need to make sure that we have the system plus those audit processes already there, maybe in process or at least plan. Does that make sense? Okay. So we have to make sure that the requirement of the VDA6 it's been met along with the Formula Q requirement. Again, just for the P sub-elements that are asking for C Formula Q tab. Okay. Alrighty. Excuse me. And let me just a minute, please. Okay, been speaking for an hour now. Okay, here we go. Point number 6, element number 6, process analysis, production. Basically, after P6 element, we are in regular production. This is probably, but again, what most of you guys are going to perform an audit. So you need to become proficient in the P6 element. We have, I think there's 7 sub-elements or something like that. Oh, 6. We have 6 sub-elements. We have 6.1, what goes into the process. It goes process input and process output, basically. What goes into the process are all the production processes control. 6.2, 6.3, what function supports the process, personal sources or resources. 6.4, what means are used to implement the process, material sources. 6.5, how effective is the process being carried out and effective efficiency and waste avoidance. As you can see, everything is related to the manufacturability of the product. What should the process produce, the process result? So again, I'm not going to go in detail. These questions basically are a guideline for you. If you go to 6.1.1, it's asking you, has the process been transferred from development to serial production and is reliable start guaranteed? So you can open the book and look for the tab on 6.1.1 and will let you know exactly what you will be looking for. It will give you examples and will let you know what you have to look for. So in that portion, the orange book is a really great aid, and it take you, it give you a hand and take you to every specific point that you have to look for it. And I think, well, I don't think I need to let you. Okay, two more things that I need to let you know here. We have some yellow tabs here. Some of the questions can be non-assessed. There will be a point in time when I'm scoring that I'm gonna put an 8 here. 8, 8, 8. I'm gonna clear the questionnaire because I don't think I'm gonna get it. We have NE questions. That's what I'm trying to tell you. An NE question mean that can be skipped from the current P element. Let's keep as an example that I'm still in P2 project management, and everything that I have found is an 8. Just an example, right? The moment I score all those 8s, we have an overall score. VDA is giving us the possibility to skip the yellow NE elements. I'm assuming because they probably be considered less severe for the audit and less severe for the audit in general. So we have the opportunity to skip the yellow NE questions. So that's how they are called NE questions. So as you can see along the whole questionnaire, we have several NE options. So that means we can skip those. Sometimes that obeys to the timing, to be honest. Okay, and let me see because I don't see something here in the questionnaire, but that's okay for now. Just gonna let you know. I want to let you know I don't see that here in the questionnaire, but VDA is calling also for specific points from the audit that they are marked as an asterisk. For example, I'm here in the book and I see P6 2.4. Okay. P6 2.4 are not released. Okay, defective materials per the book. And you know what? I thought that was included here in the format, but it is not. So again, you really need to find the book. The book is calling you for questions with an asterisk, something like this. That means that's a question. It's tricky because it's shown as an NE, but NE here, NE, no, yeah, it's shown as an NE, but at the same time, it's shown as a characteristic to pay attention. This was implemented since the beginning of the VDA, probably VDA, I think we have at least 7 years that we are now focusing on the VDA. When I take the formal training was in 2016. And I remember that they were really stressing out all those asterisk questions. And 1 year later, they come back because the auditors, we were focusing a lot on those asterisk questions. And there was a rule that you have one of those rated red or 4 or more of them rated yellow, you can discard the audit. You can basically kind of cancel the audit because they were really basically they were mistreated. They were taken as a critical element, which was not. Just want to let you know that based on the book, please take a look on the book because the format doesn't include that information. You have to pay attention, special attention to the question that has an asterisk, and a star. Let's keep it like that. Let's keep it simple. So yeah, the questions that have a star, and you have to pay special attention to it. That's it. If you ask me how special attention you have to put, you have to make sure that all of them are assessed. That's it. That is nothing that if one of them are failed and automatically the audit turns red and the audit it's done. So that's not the case. That was a confusion that happened 2016, 2017. We received a retrain after that just to reconfirm everyone in the world, like that star has to be treated as a special characteristics to be checked up. Okay. Now, Okay, I'm just gonna finish with my format here, and I'm gonna go back with my presentation. This is the questionnaire P6. Then we have the evaluation tab that we just discussed before. In this evaluation, we have the breakdown again, A and B phases by sub-element, and then we will have a summary and the overall scoring. That will be our audit result. Now, as soon as we are done with the audit, that means that we have a result of 80% with C. That's what I was telling you, right? In order for a classification change has to be B with 85. So you gotta keep a special attention to the rating plus the percentage. This is our evaluation, and then we have the overall report. Here, basically, we will put all the information that was included in the audit will be automatically filled up here. All the certs that we place in a previous tab, they will be transferred here by formulas, and the team as well. Basically, we just make sure that this information, what I have done here, it's because we have a supplier name and we don't see anything like that. Before I go to audit the supplier, I just confirm that all formulas are working. If we don't have a formula, because I don't like to be typing, especially if I'm repeating information, I just put this is equal to tab number, tarara, and I just bring the supplier information here automatically. So I just type it once and it populated over all the sheets. I just make sure that everything is in there. And then all the portion of the upper portion of the scoring, it's done. So now I'm gonna put a summary here. Those are gonna be the things that we need to fill it up. Summary of the audit. We're gonna describe how the audit go, how many days the audit took place, what's the personnel involved, what was the scope, or this audit was for a new process development. It took 3 days and it was smoothly run with no issues, or maybe we have a lot of interruptions. Hopefully next time we don't have that many interruptions during the auditing process. We need to, you need to describe how the audit went just in a generic 3-5 lanes. Then you gotta go to the second field. You gotta put it in there. What did you find in the audit? Most of the time it's like findings, and most of the times are like critical findings. Sometimes you have to stop the audit to address a critical item that you find out. And it happened to me once before. I went and audited a supplier. The traceability was not working. We have to stop the audit, and they have to show me, first of all, that the traceability is working and that the material that is going out the door is within compliance. That was one case. Another case is a supplier that measurement equipment and calibration was expired and overdue for 6 months. So we have to stop the audit, and we ask for an immediate correction to that deviation, because at that time, our priority as an auditors is to use this audit as a continuous improvement tool. But if you go and there is a huge bleeding in that company, the first thing that you have to stop, it's the bleeding. It's the non-conformance product going out. So our job as an auditors is to stop the audit and require immediate actions. As soon as the immediate actions are done and the system that it was running, the process is reestablished and the output of the process is good, we can continue with our audit. So again, going back to the point, most of the time you put here the findings, most of the time severe findings and a total of findings. I usually put, okay, we found a total of 25 findings, 5 of them major, and I list them. We require immediate action. We have to have a report of that in 14 days or something, just a mention of that. The conclusion is the result of the audit. The audit, despite of the findings gotten, the result was B with 82, and they are conditionally passing, and they are good to go for now. But then we gotta go to the further actions. Then in further actions, we will describe what are the steps to follow during the audit. Probably we will have to have every case is different. So you guys as an auditor have to have the mindset and the consideration to allow the suppliers to reestablish their systems. Sometimes they can stop the bleeding just during the next couple of hours while you are in their facility. Sometimes you will have to call them for a review 1 week later, just to make sure that the critical items are addressed when that happens. It's not always all the time, just very specific cases. Normally, out of the action plan that you, out of all the findings that you have, they will have to put an action plan. And that action plan has to be answered back to you in 2 weeks. And then I will go in details. Basically, you will put further actions. Usually it's, we need the action plan in 2 weeks or 1 month. It depends on the quantity of findings and the negotiation between the audited party and the auditor. So you will have to have an action plan back. You will have the action plan is just that. It's just the plan. It's just an answer to every one of the questions that you put here that they don't have a program management. They're going to give you a reason and they're going to give you a measure, what they're going to do. They're going to give you a target completion date, who's going to do it, and they are going to confirm by the time when that is effectively implemented. So one thing is provision of the plan. That's the promise. That's just the plan. And then you will work with them in a probably 3-month period of time. But I've been auditing for a while, so I passed through audits that they last audit results or answers from the supplier. They last 3 months, some cases 6 months, and I've been with suppliers over a year, something around 18 months. So I'm sure just can probably Octavio remember that. But yeah, sometimes it's things can be closed in 3 months, sometimes 6 months, and sometimes more than that. So okay, that's just from again going back to the format standpoint. This is the report. This is the action plan that will be automatically populated and be returned to you by the audited party. Usually, they provide the action plan, and usually, if it's your case or not, you could have a follow-up, a weekly or a bi-weekly follow-up. When after they provide you with a plan, you are monitoring that the plan is by fact being implemented. And this is along with a PowerPoint presentation when they show you material or evidences that the new program management, it's being hired and they have a procedure in place and they are working towards the solving the finding that you got. So that's basically what you will be monitoring. That's the action plan. Formal Q, we already discussed. Just make sure that you check every single link based on the questionnaire, and then we have the history, and that does not belong to us. That's belong to more to Encona, QMC, and Volkswagen Institute. Okay, so I just have 8 more minutes to go, guys. So let me go really quick. We discuss the scoring. When the audit basically it's completed and you audit and assess all the points, you will ask for auditing scoring time. You will ask the organization to give you 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours, the time required for you to confirm that everything it's well assessed. I usually do my scoring during the audit, and then at the end I make a double pass, to every single scoring. When you start the audit from P2, you have an overview from the company. When you finalize all the assessment, you have a different perspective. You now know more out of the supplier, so you have more resources and more knowledge to evidence properly what the supplier has or they don't have in place. So now your scoring will be I double do it. So just to make sure that we are being fair and we are just being objective in what they have or what they don't have. So after you score all the audit, you will have a final result. And then that final result has to be discussed and agreed with the audited party. What does that mean? By every single 8, 6, or 4 they have, you have to let them know why. And they have to be in agreement with you that the system is not there, or maybe they will be disputing the audit. So you guys will have to negotiate. And basically that is when the book comes handy, because nobody likes to have 6s or 4s. So you gotta let them know why, and you gotta show them with a total diagram that the process it is there or it is not there, and if it's there, why is a 6 or why is a 4, right? So that's basically the time for discussion and agreement. After the discussion and agreement came and you have a middle point and you have a list of actions, you now have to disclose the audit to the audited party. You will ask for that audit to be printed out, and you have to sign it off. And the moment you sign it off, you're gonna, usually it's at the beginning and at the end. For the certified auditors, we have to show that we are a certified auditor by a certain company, and that signature has a backup behind that, right? So that's basically what it is. You sign up the report, and then the audited party sign it off, and with that signature, they commit to the further steps. So then, after the audit is signed off, it has to be scanned. Usually, you scan it in two different documents. One that is basically I'm gonna go back really quick to the report. Okay, usually you for us as an auditor, as the company that we are auditing, we have to print every single page from this document, and it has to be attached to our record and has to be PDF in our files or archives in our company. But we print also a short version for our colleagues in program management, for our colleagues in sales, for our colleagues in quality. So all the people that they don't need every one of these single questionnaire, main screen, secondary screen, disclaimer, and those things, we just print basically the evaluation and the report. So we create two files, one that compiles the entire audit, and the one that basically just have the breakdown and the scoring. However, in both cases, they have the signature of the auditor and the audited party. So in case of comments and questions, they can go back to it, or they can go back to the entire presentation, to the entire audit. So just so you guys know, that is a common practice. So now, after the audit is done, and I move just here, the audit is done, is signed off already and distributed by email. The audit becomes formal. Usually it's distributed by email. I ask the supplier, here's the audit, it's already signed up. Please, I provide clear directions of the two formats that I need, the long version and the short version. Both are sent out to me, so I can do the distribution later from my organization. So I can, in the communication that the audit was originally planned, we can go and disclose audit results and the action plan and a follow-up. That's what basically it's done formally. So now, as of now, we have done our audit. We wrap up our audit and we distribute it. What is the follow-up and the action plan closure and sustainability? That's what we were discussing before. We have now the list of action findings, and we have to have a questionnaire list of findings, which is what you can see on the screen. Supplier has to assign a champion. Supplier has to do all his homework, and they have to come back with further actions. And usually, again, the action plan should come back to us in 14 days as a standard. The completion of the action items within 60 days or 90 days, or it's going to be up to the situation and the audited party and the auditor. And then after they are done with the implementation of the action items, you gave a grace period of time, because they are implementing a system. They are putting a program management in place, and that program manager has to be trained, be involved, be developing the current product on board, and be able to establish the system. And we have to allow time to the supplier to run the system and make sure that the system is working. If they just hire a program manager and we close the issue, the guy might left the company, the guy might not implement anything or do anything. So it's not about the guy, it's about the system. So we need to give the supplier 14 days for the wish list, for the action item plan. We need to give 60 days for implementation, and we need to give 30 to 90 days. It depends. If I'm giving 60 days for implementation, I will give additional 30 days to evaluate that their own implementation is working. So all the findings, they have to go and do a self-assessment of the VDA. Ideally, if they are not VDA capable, or we train them, or we just ask them for the evidences, we need to find proof that the system they implement in 60 days, 30 days later, in day 90, the system is by fact working. So when that happens, the systems are done. Hopefully they are done with all the action items and all the implementation, and the deadline is past 30, 60, 90 days according to our criteria. So now it's time for us to plan the reassessment and go and visit the supplier, perform the new VDA process audit, and probably change the supplier classification or improve the score so we can we have done the improvement with the supplier. They now have the program manager, the system, and the tools, so we can have a successful launch for our new the new launch for our company. So that's more or less how it works. So after that is done, the audit is basically completed. And I think that's it from my end. I took more than expected. So as of now, Yusuke, you want us to do some questions and answer here, or as we discussed it, go with Fernando, continue with D-TLD, please.
I would like to continue with Fernando. Thank you very much, Victor and Fernando.
Thank you.
Yeah, hello. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Okay, are you presenting or should I keep presenting?
No, just continue to the next slide, Victor, please.
All righty.
I promise I will speak less than you.
Please, and thank you.
Okay, this is the table that Victor was showing at the beginning. It's just to show you the type of audits that are performed by the BW consortium, and some of them are requested to us as well and our suppliers. So I'm going to talk a little bit about D-TLD audits or assessment, which the focus is safety and critical characteristics and their documentation. And the target is have compliance of the technical specifications and also compliance with legal regulations. You go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Now, what does the letter D mean? D is a German word, and it means documentation. And TLD is a German acronym, which is basically technical guidelines for documentation. That's the meaning. It's important to know because we are seeing D and TLD, and what does it mean? Okay. And what do the technical guidelines for documentation tell us about it? Well, this means compliance of the technical specifications and compliance of legal regulations, as I just mentioned in the previous slide. It's just information to know. You go to the next one, Victor, please. And this is important. Car producers are obliged to comply by law a series of minimum requirements in the serial production of vehicles. In addition, car producers could be like a BW or BW consortium. And in addition, the manufacturing, which says Joyson, and also the suppliers, you, are subject to the presentation of evidence in parallel with the product liability. This regardless of fault. This in order to protect suppliers and car producers against subsequent damages, such as sales bans and other conventional sanctions, like criminal liability. And this is determined by laws of the countries in which the BW consortium vehicles are sold. So this is very important, and it's just I wanted to read it as it is because this is passed to us from BW in the same way. It's just to indicate the importance of this. Can you go to the next one? Yeah, along with the general condition of for the quality management system, there are specific quality checks documents for the or TLD parts, which we mentioned that are safety characteristics or critical characteristics for safety. And these quality checks performed for D or TLD suppliers must possess this information and keep this information for at least 15 years. We will talk a little bit about this topic in the D-TLD assessment. Now, to the technical documentation, such as indications, production authorizations, technical delivery conditions, test instructions, sample reports, test reports, or other quality documents, the D or the TLD identification must be assigned, should be assigned. Everything that has relation with a safety characteristics or a critical characteristics, all the documentation related has to be identified as D or TLD. It could be D, it could be D/TLD, or it could be just TLD. In addition, the D identification is used in technical documentation, such as drawings, standards, or specifications like TL specs or some BW specifications. And if the measurements, the data in the text, or the numbers of the sections are affected by internal or legal construction regulations. This is just informative, but it's important. Now the next one. In the drawings you have already, you are maybe familiar with this nomenclature. We have critical characteristics, the major characteristics, and a regulation characteristic. So the critical one is a special characteristic which could directly affect compliance against government regulation or safety function of the product. So this critical characteristic is part of the ones with mandatory documentation. BW handled the identification for those, but I know in the drawings you have already most of the nomenclature is C, and some of the drawings may have also the characteristics mentioned. For the major characteristics, it's a special characteristic which through variation is likely to significantly affect form, fit, and non-safety function, durability, or appearance of the part. And the other one is regulation, which is a special characteristic or on a drawing or customer, which is required for type approval, homologation, product certification purposes, etc. And unless otherwise is specified by the customer, demonstration of capability is not required. So the critical characteristics, bottom line here is the one that we need to have information and keep the documentation of everything related to critical characteristics. You go to the next one. I'm gonna go to this D-TLD assessment, which is a short assessment compared with the VDA 6.3, and this is just the front page of this assessment. I don't know if you see the clear, but this is the front shape. It basically contains the main supplier information. This is the address of the supplier and the contact information. Part of the organization or the organizational chart is also mentioned here, and this is just the front page. Also, the signature of the supplier is included on this front page. This is an example, by the way, on PDF. So can you pass to the next one, Victor? This is the list of characteristics. This is the next, the second page. At the top, we are also having some basic information from the supplier. And there is a section for the part description, which is the product that we are auditing or assessing. And the next column is the part number, and also the next one, the drawing, where this part is referenced. The next column is product audit. This product audit, which we are not mentioning in this presentation yet, is something that is coming, as Victor mentioned at the beginning. Is linked to the D-TLD in the same format, but it's not being mentioned in this presentation. So The next one is D-TLD characteristics or critical characteristics or safety characteristics. And this is the list of characteristics that are applicable for mandatory documentation because those affect the safety of the product. And this is basically what is being reviewed. I mean, during the assessment or during the audit, you have to look at your list of characteristics and see the results, look for evidence. And basically, the next column is just to confirm fulfillment or not fulfillment of the requirements shown on those characteristics. So it's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple assessment. But yes, key is to identify the list of critical or safety characteristics, and those are the ones that should be here in the assessment. There's another section for statements or requirements. Here is where you can put some notes or findings or declare something. And at the end, it's being signed by the responsible. It's a pretty simple form, as I mentioned. And then after this, we have the questionnaire, which has, in a sense, 17 questions. I think this is pretty small, but I'm going to go to the Excel file very quick. Yeah, we have 3 sections. One is for technical documentation or verification. The second section is product and process. And the third section is personnel related. Let me just share my screen, Victor. I'm going to go through those very quick. Those are pretty straight questions. And please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see.
Okay, there's, as I mentioned, 3 sections. We have questions. We have a remark here, which is an aid or an example of what we have to look for. And then the evaluation. The evaluation is just yes or no. There are no score here at the end. It's a simple assessment. And as I mentioned, those are pretty straight questions. I'm going to go very quick through some of them. The first one here on the technical documents or verification is if we have an up-to-date list with all the characteristics safety related. And also if the specifications are also available with a valid change status, and if the documents are identified with D-TLD as D-TLD documents, all documents related to those characteristics. So this is the first question. We just have to answer yes, no. And if we go to the next one, is that besides the characteristics listed in the drawing, you as manufacturer can identify some characteristics that are affecting the safety. You are the expert building your products. So you may identify some critical characteristics or safety related characteristics that also has to be part of this list. Okay. And this is but is referring the second question here. The third one is if we have a procedure available, I mean, for this D-TLD process in your plant. So this is one of the key elements. 1.4, for example, is that if the archive of the information is maintained at least for 15 years. This is what I was mentioning in a previous slide. So we gotta have a suitable way to archive this information and have it available upon request. There are more questions here. I mean, the 1.5 is if all the important data is contained in the documentation. I mean, if we are not just putting away some information, I mean, if we are just considering all the important information in the document. And it also asks if the archiving process is being performed in a way to have easy and rapid access to individual documents, if possible. 1.7 is asking about the subcontractors or suppliers that influence the characteristics for the ones we require mandatory documentation are also instructed to carry out similar process, which is what we are doing now. And we are instructing you to perform this assessment, and that's part of the requirements. Also, one of the key items that I think you were requested already is that every single supplier should have a product safety representative in the plan, PSB. The question here is if there's the PSB in your plan. Okay, the next section, as you see, those are pretty straight questions. It's just only yes or no, and the answer that is expected in this assessment. And the next section is product and process, and the first question is asking for, I mean, if all important production parameters for the mandatory documentation characteristics are established in writing, and if their inspection is documented. And also, I mean, the second question here is if we have process capability of those, and if not, full inspection. 2.3 is is asking us if the inspection procedures for mandatory documentations are suitable to find defects. This could be MSA, something like this. But yeah, we have to question if our inspection methods are suitable to detect defects. The traceability is 2.4. We have traceability of of the parts. That's a key item as well. And the 2.5 is if we review all the all our products, and if we are also applying this mandatory documentation requirement, all the groups of products. The third section here is the personnel. It's related to personnel, and it's just the 3.1 is related to training. If we have the people training on their responsibilities, and if we have instructions for the personnel also, and those are in the native language or understandable language, so they can understand it and they can apply it. Also, it's talking about competence and qualification of the personnel performing the activities related to this safety and critical characteristics. And the last one is if the personnel capabilities are available or are enough to complete the requirements and the activities. So this is pretty much the assessment of D-TLD. As you can see, it's a simple one. I mean, it's a small assessment. At the end, can you go back to the presentation, please, Victor? At the end, the expectation is to have this assessment complete. The expectation or the ideal is to have only yes on the, I mean, as answer. But in case no, you have to come up with an action plan. But that's it, basically. This is it from the presentation.
Thank you, Fernando. Well, this is our presentation about VDA 6.3 and D-TLD. And maybe you know or you don't know, but it's our OEM requirement to perform audit every 12 months. It means if you performed this January, you have to do same day of January of next year or before. Not once a year, every 12 months. And I request you to support us to perform your self-assessment for VDA 6.3, VDA 6.5, and D-TLD assessment if applicable. It is the reason why we are having this conference with you and to explain how it's going on, and hope you can help us a lot. Well, thank you very much. And Victor, Fernando, you have any comment?
Not from me. Thank you.
No, not from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you can review and report us self-assessment about VDA 6.3, D-TLD, and if possible, 6.5. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you too.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.